G'day, I'm Renata Eccles from the Department of Speech Language Pathology and Audiology, University of Pretoria, South Africa. My co-authors are listed below. Let's take a moment. Think about the breakup songs, the songs of your teens and nostalgia, the dancing around the kitchen or driving down the highway bangers, the sweet nursery rhymes you taught your children. Music brings life to our memories and takes us right back to that moment. Music is the universal language of mankind. And that is why we wanted to look at how this universal language impacts on learning. So today, I'm going to discuss my research on the effect of music instruction on phonological awareness and early literacy skills in 5 to 7-year-olds. I'd like to thank my funders. Multiple studies and systematic reviews have shown that music instruction improves phonological awareness and early literacy skills in children. However, when the outcomes of individual studies are grouped into meta-analyses, the reliability and significance of the transfer effect is reduced, so there appears to be some questions there. Pitch and rhythm discrimination are the musical abilities most often linked to phonological awareness and early literacy development, because they are all dependent on auditory discrimination. Auditory discrimination of timing and stress features of speech are critical in phonological awareness tasks for the manipulation and analysis of words, syllables, and phonemes. Pitch and rhythm training have been shown to improve auditory discrimination of musical and speech stimuli. Children are often exposed to phonological activities by engaging with music. Babies bounce and clap hands to rhythms, and from a young age, children sing learned or invented rhymes and word games. Music, similar to and often in combination with play, is a medium of learning for children and provides children with a natural, fun, and engaging learning environment. But findings describing the relationship between pitch and rhythm discrimination and phonological and literacy abilities in young children have shown varied results, as you can see. These contradicting findings may be due to varying ages of participants across studies, as the effect of pitch and rhythm discrimination on phonological awareness and literacy abilities is hypothesized to decrease as children become older, because literacy skills become more complex and dependent on already established phonological abilities along with auditory processing. It is not clear how music abilities specifically affect phonological awareness and reading abilities. Essentially, the diversity of results warrants further investigation of the effect of music instruction on phonological awareness and early literacy of young, school-going children. When we consider the exposure to music instruction, there are questions too. Some studies indicate that the duration of music instruction is associated with the strength of phonological awareness and early literacy abilities. Longer exposure means stronger transfer effects, with some studies indicating changes only after 2 years of music training and not before. Contrastingly, other studies have shown that both short and long-term music instruction results in phonological improvements, showing that interventions lasting less than 4 weeks were equally effective as those that ran for an academic year. The duration of exposure to music instruction required to impact on phonological awareness and literacy skills has not yet been fully assessed. Consequently, the current study evaluated the effect of varying durations of music instruction exposure presented over 1 academic year on the phonological awareness and foundational literacy abilities of young school-going children. Children between 5 and 7 years of age were sampled from 2 high socioeconomic setting primary schools that follow the same curricula. Participants had to be typically developing males with normal hearing and expressive language to control for contributing factors and gender differences. They were in grade R or reception year and grade 1 and could not have previously repeated a grade. Home language and language of learning and teaching was English. The final sample included 42 participants. Even though English was a home language, as is typical in South Africa, 61% of the children also had additional home languages. After inclusion screening, participants were evaluated at the beginning and end of the academic year. I understand this slide is very busy. I'll be going through each measure. Participants' hearing and expressive language abilities were screened to rule out any contributing hearing and language difficulties. 41 parents returned a comprehensive case history form regarding participants' biographical information. The Phonological Awareness Test 2 normative update was used to evaluate children's phonological processing and phonics-related skills, such as phoneme-grapheme correspondence. The primary measure of music audition, the PMMA, assessed participants' pitch and rhythm discrimination. Raw scores were used for all calculations, as the tests included in the assessment battery were not normed for the South African population. After the assessments, participants were exposed to various forms of music instruction over the 38 weeks of the 2018 academic year, including class music, group recorder sessions, individual instrument lessons, group theory classes, and choir. This resulted in greater exposure to music instruction for the participants attending more music activities. Consequently, participants were assigned to either a low or high exposure group, above or below 29 hours of exposure. 17 age-matched pairs were also compared to control for maturation. None of the participants were excluded based on the inclusion screening. The low exposure group received on average 20 hours and 47 minutes of music exposure over the academic year. The high exposure group received on average 42 hours and 7 minutes. Comparisons of the low and high exposure groups' phonological awareness and music ability post-intervention scores showed no significant differences after one academic year of music instruction. Within-group comparisons showed significant changes from baseline to post-intervention scores. The high exposure group improved significantly in 5 phonological awareness subtests and in both phoneme-grapheme correspondence subtests, indicated in purple. The low exposure group significantly improved in 2 phonological awareness subtests and also the 2 phoneme-grapheme correspondence subtests, indicated in green. The age-matched pair comparisons indicated no significant difference between the groups. So what could this all mean? Well, we saw no between-group differences after one academic year of music instruction. These results appear to align with the meta-analysis by Sulla and Gobert 2017, which indicates that there is no transfer effect from music to cognitive-related skills. Although, from the perspective of duration of music instruction exposure as an influencing factor, this study contributes to the evidence that 1 year or less of music instruction may not be sufficient to improve phonological awareness. 2 years of music instruction may be needed to measure the effect of music instruction exposure on non-music cognitive-related abilities. If we consider the within-group results, the high-exposure group showed significant within-group phonological awareness and phonemic awareness improvements in deletion, phoneme substitution, and blending in comparison to the low-exposure group. These phonological awareness abilities are important for the development of phonics skills, such as phoneme-grapheme correspondence and phonemic decoding in emergent readers. Differences in within-group improvements could potentially be as a result of the high-exposure group's greater exposure to music instruction, although changes were not enough to result in significant between-group differences. So further exposure to music instruction for longer than 1 year could potentially result in significant phonological awareness improvements and should be investigated. In the future, we would like to follow up on this cohort to see if the high exposure groups within group changes were indicative of a non-significant but small and clinically relevant effect of music instruction on phonological awareness, and if the transfer effect is influenced by a longer duration. An alternative activity group should also be added when no music instruction is received, although this is difficult to do because the South African school curricula mandate the inclusion of music lessons. The current participant sample included developing males from high socioeconomic settings. Going forward, the application of the same test paradigm to children at risk for literacy difficulties from low socioeconomic settings is important. The progress in international reading literacy studies showed that South Africa has consistently performed the worst out of 50 countries in 2006, 2011, and 2016. Vulnerable populations, such as children from low socioeconomic settings exposed to biological and environmental risk factors, have poorer literacy achievements and consequently poorer academic performance. Innovative approaches to stimulating early literacy development, such as group music instruction, are needed and should be investigated. Educators are often tasked with managing the phonological and literacy difficulties of many children within the classroom setting, and the number of additional language learners in the classroom at risk for literacy difficulties is growing. The role of music within the school curriculum should be considered as a potential resource for the stimulation of other academic skills. Music is a valuable education tool because it is rewarding, emotionally engaging, indirect, and holds young learners' attention. The potential benefit of incorporating long-term music programs in foundation phase learning should continue to be probed in research. Foundation phase educators require support in providing literacy education to a diverse population of learners. Thank you for your time. My last 2 slides have references, and feel free to contact me to discuss this research further.